Hey everybody, how you doing? Bill Colarulo. We are joined tonight by occupational therapist Jason Melnyk. Jason has over 19 years of experience. He is an occupational therapist at Strive Physical Therapy. They have multiple locations throughout New Jersey and Philadelphia. Jason, thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so what we wanted to talk about, and this is a great topic, I'm glad that Jason approached me with it, is a lot of us are at home and we're working from our home offices that we're normally not used to doing. Some of us don't even have a great setup. I've seen people using folding chairs or setting up at the kitchen table. And a lot of us have heard the term, ergonomics and trying to make sure that we have an ergonomically correct position when we're working to limit these types of injuries. So Jason, could you start off by just talking a little bit about what is ergonomics?
In the simplest sense, when we're thinking of ergonomics, what we're really looking at is trying to study how environments or tasks or tools that we use really fit or work well with people, so that they're able to do the things that they want to do. So really, when you break down the word, the idea is to know the human, when we really kind of get down into in the Greek where it came from and all those things. So really, it's a natural sense of trying to get things to fit to other folks. Best examples I use all the time is I tell folks, when you go to sit down in your car and you grab that steering wheel and it feels like there's kind of those nice two bump outs at that 10 and 2 where we really should be holding the wheel and steering and then using the controls of that. That's really an ergonomic thing that's been added to steering wheels a long time ago to make sure that we're doing that. So really, some of these things are natural to our everyday living, but a time like this, these things might be a little bit harder to come by, and we have to think creatively in how we're going to get that.
Yeah, and if someone doesn't have the proper ergonomic setup, and what are the type of injuries that we could see or the type of pain that we can see?
Unfortunately, if someone is working in a bad setup for too long, it might not feel it immediately, but over time, the two things that really kind of break down, there's sort of a musculoskeletal pain or aches, strains, those types of things. And the other categories that we often see from folks are what are known as sort of overexertion injuries, or sort of an overexposure repetitive use thing. Not that it's always gets categorized this way, but these are where folks that have that carpal tunnel issues. They may have some tingling, aches, pains that go down into the fingers, maybe into the elbow. A lot of times that becomes part of this process when setups can be compromised depending on where someone.
Now, I've seen you've done a presentation in the past called kind of de-stress your desk. Could you give our viewers some tips with regard to ways that they can make some changes in their home offices to prevent these overuse types of injuries that you're discussing?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's multiple tenants that when you go to look at a space, whether it's could be in an industrial site when we're in the warehouse, or if we're sitting down at somebody's desk, there's a couple of things that we really look for. One of the things that we talk about is the idea of a contortion piece or a twisting piece, if you will. So really what that means is if you're going to sit at an area and you're going to work, and I really do encourage that folks sort of separate their leisure areas or their family areas, if they can, from their work areas. First and foremost, it's going to make you feel more productive in what you're doing because you kind of are set up for success, if you will. But what it also does is it really allows you the opportunity to present yourself in front of what you're doing in a good posture. So what we're talking about, that contortionist thing, is when we're sitting on the couch and maybe leaning off to the side and our feet are sort of tucked off to the other side here, and we got that laptop sitting on our thigh. It may feel good for a minute while we're watching, the first 2 or 3 parts of Tiger King or whatever anybody else is watching. But it's probably not the best place for you to really try to get that work done. So instead of contorting or leaning into that thing, first and foremost, find yourself a place where you can set your computer up, maybe on a flat surface, so that it's really in front of you and you're really able to work from there. So that really is the first and foremost, is really trying to make sure we're not contorting too much if we can help it. One of the other ones that comes into it, believe it or not, is the idea of vibration. And vibration, you might think there's a whole lot going on there, but if we're not set up in a good area and that computer is on our lap, or maybe it's on a throw pillow or some other place, you're going to get a little bit of bounce back from that keyboard. So what actually happens, instead of you typing in the way that you normally would, you may otherwise be trying to hold on to the computer while you're typing or adjust the way that you're doing it. So we're going to move our hands, our fingers in sort of strange contorted ways, believe it or not, that we wouldn't normally actually do. But really, it's, first and foremost is getting yourself in that environment and setting yourself up for success if
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. When you got the laptop on your desk, you're subconsciously holding it so it doesn't fall.
Yeah,
So,
what I do, the truth be told, I've stolen lap desks from my daughters because
hmm,
they have them. So I have these very brightly colored um, butterfly lap desks that I've put on to make sure that if I am going to sit in a chair for a minute and I have it on, it's going to try to keep it more level and steady for me because I can't always find space with the kids at the table and everything else. We've got to find all our ways to get these things done.
let me ask you too, because I've heard, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, that the monitor itself should be raised a little bit so that you're not looking down, that you're looking up. Can you touch on that at all? Is that true?
Yes, optimally, if you can, what you're looking for is actually a really, really great question. Is if we think of posture-wise, the easiest way to think about this, and been saying these three things for the nearly 20 years I've been doing this, is ears, shoulders, and hips. So basically, what you're looking for is ears in a straight line should be straight over those shoulders, should be straight over those hips. So theoretically, if we think about that you're right, a computer monitor should be somewhat lifted so that chin is kind of level as you're looking out to that image. Now, the hard part is we're all working from laptops, right? So how do we mitigate this? So if you have it available to you, or we're all kind of firing up the Amazon right now, not that I'm not endorsing any service at the moment, but getting an external keyboard or getting an external mouse for that laptop could be an important thing to aim for, especially if you're prone to a little bit of neck trouble or maybe a little bit of shoulder issues. Because what you can do then is you can take that keyboard, or excuse me, that laptop, prop it up to that nice level height so the chin can be level from there, and then use that external keyboard and mouse. So basically, you're taking your laptop, just turning it into a monitor at this point, and then all the other functions can be where they normally were, as if you were sitting at a desktop, and that helps to mitigate some of those viewing issues.
Wow, I appreciate that. So before we wrap up, Jason, is there any other recommendations you can provide to our viewers with regard to how they can have that proper ergonomic setup at home?
Believe it or not, the easiest thing that you can exercise at this point is a little bit of variety. And I know we don't have a lot of variety built into our lives right now, but really the idea is something that's called a sort of a 20-20-20 rule, if you will. So what that means is that when you're engaged in any computer task, whether it's something like we're doing right now or you're typing, whatever that may be, is about every 20 minutes, you really want to take your eyes off of that device that you're using. And the reason that you do that is you want to give a little bit of that eye strain a break, which is also kind of gets into neck strain. And what the 20-20-20 rule means is that you're going to take your eyes off of that device or that screen and try to look at something that's approximately 20 feet away from where you are at that moment. So your eyes get an opportunity to really focus on something that's a lot farther away than what you've been staring at for the last 20 minutes, if you will. What it also does is that's going to encourage you to pop back up into a nice posture, give yourself a break, because we really are kind of all coming into sort of this hunched over position, even more so than we were when we were playing, our phones and everything else, and not just doing the video chats that we're doing now. So it is really good every 20 minutes when you can. I'm not saying you got to walk away from what you're doing. We all need to be productive, but just even looking up if you can. If you're not engaged in a video chat, you're just on the phone, look up, get tall, give your body the opposite. The last thing I'll say on top of that is that when you do have that downtime with your family, and I hope all of you are remaining well and the folks next to you stay that way, it's not downtime during those times as far as this positional stuff is concerned. So don't be too contorted on the couch for too long. Maybe make sure you get up and stand before that next episode starts, 20 seconds after you watch the next one. So you kind of get your body a little bit of movement so we're not just staying too sedentary. It'll help keep us a little bit more healthier.
Wow. Well, Jason, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the knowledge. Again, if anybody needs anything at all with regard to therapy, you can call Jason or any of his team members over at Strive Physical Therapy. I believe they have 22 locations throughout New Jersey and Philadelphia. It's
telehealth as well.
Oh, go.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we also have the telehealth program as well too. So if folks want to see us in the same format that we're in right now, we're trying to keep everybody as healthy as possible. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you if people needed anything right now. You guys do offer the telemedicine.
Absolutely, yeah. All of the, through strivephysicaltherapy.com, you can find ways to connect through us there. Believe it or not, we're even seeing folks from different states because folks are really trying to access care as much as they possibly can, and we're trying to help out in any way that we're able.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care so much. Thank you, everybody. Be well.
Same to you.